It's a beautiful night for baseball in Houston, Texas. The scene is Minute Maid Park. And tonight it's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Houston Astros in Game 2 on Fox Sports Midwest. Last night, a disappointing way to open up the road trip. Bill Hall in his career with 2 walk-off hits. Both have been against the St. Louis Cardinals, 6-5 in 9 innings last night. And along with my partner, Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. The Cardinals try to bounce back tonight, Rick, in Game 2 with one of their best so far, and that's Kyle Lohse.
And that is one way to bounce back, is send a hot starting pitcher to the mound. Kyle Lohse is most certainly that. In the top 10 in the National League in earned run average, Kyle Lohse has been outstanding. His last time out, he gave up just 2 hits, had a shutout, and really, he's only had 1 bad inning all year long. He had a game in Pittsburgh where he gave up 4 runs in 1 inning, and it's been nothing but strikes from Kyle Lohse. The walks are down, and there's the numbers in that game against the Nationals. He, Dan, has been one of the best Cardinal players in 2011.
The Cardinals will face the lefty Happ, and Lance Berkman is again in the lineup tonight. Berkman and the Cardinals coming up in Game 2. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime. The just right taste of Bud Light with a refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. By Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake. Life needs flavor. Gorgeous day, gorgeous night now here in Houston, Texas. Glad you're with us. It's Game 2 between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Houston Astros. Kyle Lohse ready to go, coming off a fantastic start his last time out in St. Louis. And a look at the Southwest Airlines lineup for Tony La Russa. Nick Punto leads things off at second base, followed by David Freese. So a little switch at the top, facing a lefty tonight. Then Pujols back in there, nursing that sore hammy. Then Holiday, Berkman, Molina, Green, Jay, and Lohse. And the Cardinals face the lefty that the Astros picked up in the Roy Oswalt deal, and that's Jay Happ.
Has not been as good as Oswalt for sure since that trade, but Happ is a guy that likes to work up in the zone. He'll also like to work inside on right-handers. The Cardinals will be employing 8 of them in this game today. Only John Jay will hit from the left side, and he needs to find a way to keep the ball down because the ball is carrying with the roof off here in Houston.
The defense behind the lefty Happ is presented by Dobbs with Lee, Bourne, and Pence in the outfield. Johnson, Sanchez, Inglet, and Brett Wallace over at first on the infield. Jay Happ and J.R. Tolles is behind the plate. That's a look at the Astros defense presented by Dobbs. First bank, first take. A look at tonight's matchup.
Cardinals hitting .293 as a team. They've been outstanding. Over 5 runs a game. Earned run average also better than the Astros. The Astros off to a rough start, but they had a big finish here last night, and they're sky high today.
One of the reasons why the Cardinals struggled with runners in scoring position last night is Nick Punto takes a ball up and away. The leadoff man this evening playing second base. Had an RBI double last night, hitting .143 on the year. The Cardinals 4 for 17 with runners in scoring position last night, and they left 11 men on.
Hard to win that way.
We saw Punto at shortstop the ball game last night, nursing a sore rib cage. Is Ryan Theriot, so he was a guest on the pregame show. We'll get more of an update on him the 3rd inning with Pat Paris. 2-1 pitch. Corey Blazer is our home plate umpire. Ed Rapuano at first, Alfonso Marquez at second, Ed Hickox over at third. Count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Jay Happ is a big, tall left-hander. He's very smooth in his delivery. He does not throw hard. Even that last fastball that looked pretty good down central was only 88 miles an hour. He's not an overpowering guy, and he's already working up in the zone trying to get the fly ball from Punto.
There's a fly ball that's a line drive, but caught and into the glove of Carlos Lee. So. So a line out to start the game, and it brings in David Freese. You know, we get a lot of people ask us about Bohart and Stubby Clapp. We get more questions about them than maybe Bob Gibson.
We do.
And Stubby Clapp is the manager of Tri-City, the minor leagues of the Houston Astros.
I knew he was coaching somewhere. Couldn't remember where. Tom Lawless, former Cardinal infielder. Big World Series home run. Also works with the Astros in the minor leagues at the AA level. And he's done a great job and had a long, distinguished coaching career. Stubby Clapp.
Stubby Clapp, manager of Tri-City, the Valley Cats, which is the short season A New York Penn League. So there you go. Quickly 0-2 on Freeze.
Really interesting choice having him in the second spot in the lineup. You wonder whether Tony's trying to just get him charged up, get him more fastballs hitting in front of Albert. Just doesn't seem like the typical two-hole hitter to me.
And another fly ball for Lee. Drops in front of him. A little hesitation out there in left field. And it's a base hit. And Carlos Lee just reading his mannerisms and looking over to his left at Bourne, saying he couldn't see it.
In on the hands a bit. Not a good jump at all. Almost stayed in his tracks. Never really saw that ball. Good break for the Cardinals.
Here's Pujols. Used as a pinch hitter last night, then stayed in the game. He walked. It was an intentional walk. And Pujols pops one fouling out of play. And in that situation last night, runner at second, first base open. Brad Mills, easy choice with Pujols up to intentionally walk him. Tony La Russa knew that would happen. So essentially he put the pressure on Rasmus to come through. He did not. 0-1 pitch.
I am predicting 4 home runs to left field tonight by somebody.
By one player?
No, by cumulative.
Okay. Total.
I don't want to get too far out on it.
This might be a likely candidate. 1-1 pitch. Out in front just a bit. Production, where does it stand as compared to a year ago, which was essentially another MVP season for Pujols, and this was his start through 23 games a year ago. Identical with the 7 home runs, just a little bit off the pace of the RBIs, the average way down. Out in front again, and hits it out of play. He was only 4 back in the RBIs.
Yeah, and the average is going to come. I just don't doubt that Albert's going to hit at least 315 by the time it's all said and done, and I don't think he doubts it either.
He's the one guy that probably does not get worried about a slow start.
Not at all.
1-2 pitch. Saw last night Bud Norris, Rick, very effective with his changeup, especially deep into counts.
And Happ has a good changeup as well. He likes to throw the fastball up, the changeup down, throw the cutter in on right-handers.
2-2 is bounced to the left side. Out at second. Out at first. Double play. Pujols bounces into the double play. That's just his second double play in the last 13 games. Minute Maid Park in Houston. Fans still filing in. No scores. We move to the bottom of the first. The lineup for the Astros, presented by Southwest Airlines. Bourne, Sanchez, and Pence here in the first. Their cleanup man is Lee, followed by Wallace, who had a pair of hits in game 1. Johnson, Tolles, Inglett, and the pitcher Jay Happ. Cardinals send out Kyle Loesch, who is healthy and has been very effective basically since day 1 of spring training.
And he's been throwing a lot of strikes, and that's what he does with his first pitch here tonight. 2.01 earned run average, is 4 walks in 31 plus innings. That's really been an outstanding part of his game. I'm not sure David Freese could get any closer to Michael Bourne than he is right now. That's going to be disconcerting, I would say, for both Bourne and Freese.
1 ball, 1 strike on the speedster Michael Bourne. Liner that's caught for the first out. Nick Punto at second base tonight. A look at the defense presented by Dobbs. Holiday in left, John Jay at center, Berkman is in right. Freese, Green, Punto, and Pujols along the infield. Loesch and Molina, the battery. So at shortstop, it's Tyler Green tonight. hasn't made a lot of starts this year. As you get a look at the shortstop of Houston, Angel Sanchez, popped up right side. Punto over, so is Pujols, and it's out of play. The one thing that Green has done, though, Ricky, we were talking about this before we came on the air, when he has had a chance to play, and if he gets on base, he does give the Cardinals an element of speed, which they lack.
Not playing a whole lot. He still has 5 stolen bases, and if he can get on base more often, now he is hitting right around 300, but I'm not sure anybody thinks he's an everyday player yet. But boy, if he can occasionally get on base, it's nice to have him in late innings as a pinch runner. I think he has an asset to this team that they really lack, and that's team speed. And really important defensively today that he has a good game, and John Jay in center field. Your defense is really important up the middle, and in this ballpark, particularly the center fielder Jay, who's not played a lot defensively either, that's a lot of ground to cover here.
2 balls and 1 strike on Sanchez. Shallow right center. Jay won't get there. We talked about the wind being a factor here tonight. Behind John Jay, there are some of the wrappers, hot dog wrappers and whatnot. They are swirling out there in center field.
Sinking fastball that stayed up just a bit. Sanchez done a nice job with the bat. He's been a bit of a liability defensively.
Committed his 6th error of the season last night. Here's Hunter Pence. Pence with a long home run against Jaime Garcia last night. The first pitch is a strike. The biggest difference right now with Kyle Loesch from last year, and take health out of the equation, to this year, what do you see?
Well, it's hard to take the health out because I think it's in the mind of Kyle Loesch, and maybe that's the biggest difference. He feels confident on the mound as opposed to waiting for something bad to happen. He feels like he is proactively saying, I'm taking this game over. It's my game. You're not going to hit me. And there's an attitude that comes with that. And I think in his case, it's hard to take the factor of health out, because I think that is really where his doubt came in over the last year and a half.
Hunter Pence has been to an all-star game that was in St. Louis. Originally drafted by the Brewers back in 2002. Did not sign, went to junior college, then drafted by Houston. Out in front on that changeup. Last year, a very good year. 25 home runs for the 3rd consecutive season for Hunter Pence.
Heard a great description of him. We talked about how awkward he can look at times. Bill Brown does the games here in Houston. Good man, good friend, says it's almost like when you watch a video of him, there's a couple of frames that are missing. Almost like an old-timey film where you just jump to the next thing. It's just awkward. It doesn't seem to flow very well when you watch him play, but he does get the job done.
Bill Brown in his 25th year, a St. Louis native. Working with Jim Deshaies, the lefty. Good guy as well.
And when you think Jay Happ, you think Jim Deshaies. Very similar motions.
2-2, bounce towards second. Punto out there on to first. They get the double play. 4-6-3 on the double play. No score as we move to the top of the second here in Houston at Minute Maid Park. Matt Holliday will lead it off against Happ, who at times has been very good against the Cardinals. Other times he has struggled. It's our keys to the game presented by Toyota.
Well, his last start, 9 innings, just 2 hits. He threw a shutout, and that was August of last year. Just 3 weeks earlier, part of the numbers on the right was a terrible start against the Cardinals, where he pitched just 1 inning and gave up 7 runs. And part of it is the Cardinals' ability to lay off the pitch up in the strike zone. That's what their goal is today. Try to get him to get the ball down a bit where you can still elevate it and make it leave the yard. But if it's too far up in the zone, you can't catch up to it. That's the way Jim Deshaies pitched.
Way upstairs and take it for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes on Matt Holliday. Very good double play started by Nick Punto to send us to the 2nd inning.
I love what he did with that. He had a tough decision to make. as to whether or not to flip the ball, tag the runner, throw to first base first, and he had a split second to make the decision, and he did it perfectly. Made the right choice.
On 3-0. 4 straight and a walk to Holiday. Let's go back to the double play.
You know you've got a fast runner who hit the ball. Sanchez is stopped. You could throw to first, then get Sanchez in a double play, or do the backhand flip quickly, or try to chase the runner down, and he did the right thing.
Another nice round of applause for Lance Berkman. Received a standing ovation with just a few boos mixed in last night in his first at bat. Berkman is hitting .378. Looks at a strike. 6 home runs. He's driven in 16.
We thought it was about 90-10 last night in terms of positive reception. I think that was a little more 70-30, 60-40.
Takes a pitch high. 1 ball, 1 strike. We mentioned that Happ was in the deal that brought Oswalt to the Phillies. Roy Oswalt is dealing with a lot of tornado activity near his home in Mississippi, and his family lives there outside of his immediate family, but mom and dad and brothers and sisters. So he has left their club to join his family to make sure everything's okay. Popped up left side. Sanchez going out, the shortstop makes the catch for the first out. Since the trade, Roy Oswalt 10-2 with arguably the best staff around him. 2.13 ERA. Happ 6-7.
You just knew Oswalt was going to be good in Philadelphia. That offense is so good, and he can be so dominating. He, like a lot of other Astros, would at times have bad starts to seasons, but would always turn it on and be one of the best pitchers in the league come August. And when you're on a good team, I'm not surprised he's 10-2 since being a Philly.
Here's Yadier Molina with 1 out. Short lead at first by Holiday, and you really hit it on the head. You know, you rejuvenate these veterans like an Oswalt a year ago to leave this situation, and a lot of people point to Berkman going to St. Louis. The same thing.
Situation matters. I think Berkman's the perfect fit for the Cardinals because of his looseness.
He had an interesting comment yesterday. He said, right now I feel like I'm on the Astros teams of 2004 and 05, where we went to the ballpark and we expected to win every night.
You expect to win. You love the game. You love your teammates. It's just a joy to be a big leaguer, and something about losing and being with some guys that you don't click with that makes coming to work a drudgery, even when it's baseball.
And it's loss after loss, and the Astros have essentially said, without coming out and saying we're throwing the season away, but hey, it's rebuilding time around here, and we need to get rid of some guys that still have value, like an Oswalt, like a Berkman, and restock with some younger players.
And everybody in Houston believes that Brad Mills is the perfect guy, the patient guy to handle a rebuilding project. He is as well respected by his players and coaches and the media and the people of Houston as any manager around. And again, we thought he did a great job last season.
Popped up by Molina. That'll find the seats out of play. One of those young players right there. Where's number 29? They're trying to find out if he can be the first baseman of now and the future. Former first-round pick by the Cardinals, Brett Wallace. A 2-2 pitch. Molina swing and a miss. And Happ picks up his first strikeout of the night.
Well, this is the kind of pitch that led to his 2-hit shutout against the Cardinals last year. Pitch up in the zone. You cannot hit that pitch there. It looks like it's going to be a strike, and it just seems to hop. It doesn't really, but it looks like it does. A little bit of an optical illusion, and Molina just couldn't keep the bat back.
Brad Mills knows a little thing or two about St. Louis recently because he was part of the Boston Red Sox of 2004. He was a bench coach from 04 through 09, and then the manager now here in Houston. 31 years of professional baseball. Player, manager, coach, scout.
I think the scouting part that you just mentioned there is as important as the coaching part when you become a big league manager. Whitey Herzog was a great scout before he was a great manager. I think you learn to evaluate talent quickly and accurately, and that's very important as a manager. You don't have time to sit around and mull over your decisions. You have to make them quickly.
1 ball and 2 strikes here on the shortstop, Tyler Green, who's hitting .294, no home runs, and he's driven in 4. Shoots one foul out of play. You think about some of the deals that Whitey pulled off early 80s that changed the franchise.
You know, he did about 10 deals that one off season. I mean,
right.
When he first got there, he just basically cleaned house, and you know, you got to make some tough decisions sometimes.
Well, he made some tough ones,
even with popular players.
Yep. 1-2 pitch. Green pops it up. Sanchez is looking for help, but now he'll take it himself. The shortstop is there and makes the catch. Carlos Lee leads it off when we come back midway through 2, and there's no score. FoxSportsMidwest.com, your home for exclusive Cardinals coverage. Plus, follow us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest Cardinals updates. FoxSportsMidwest.com, the place for Cardinal fans. Head there right now, and you can see a picture of Keith O'Brien of our staff here in Houston with Todd Zeile and Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen was at the team hotel and wanted to talk baseball with anybody that wanted to visit with him.
Wow, was that fun. Knows a little bit about the game. Very excited to meet a number of Cardinal players. And he was very excited to get some Mike Shannon stories.
Who wouldn't be? The 0-2 pitch to Lee. Carlos Lee off to a slow start. Pair of home runs, 13 driven in. He was 0 for 4 last night. Lee here, then Brett Wallace and Chris Johnson. 1-2 pitch. We were talking last night that Charlie Sheen is a huge baseball fan, and yesterday afternoon his representatives called the University of Houston to take batting practice with the college team, and he did. There's a liner that's caught by Nick Punto.
Made 3 nice plays already, including a double play to end the first inning. This ball hit right on the nose the other way and stretched it out as far as he could go is Nick Punto. Always been a good glove man.
Talked about his versatility and giving Tony La Russa a lot of options, which he loves with his lineup. He can play second, short, or third.
Versatile in terms of positions and also being a switch hitter.
Brett Wallace now hitting .347, 1 home run, 8 RBIs. Started spring very slowly, then finished with a flourish, and he is their everyday first baseman right now.
He can hit. The real question with Wallace is, can he hit with enough power to be an everyday first baseman for a long time?
And a ground ball that's hit to second. Punto is there. To Pujols, 2 away.
You know, you mentioned Todd Zeile, former Cardinal catcher. He had a home run, one of the few players that hit a home run in his last at-bat in the big leagues, and he had never swung a bat again until yesterday.
Is that right?
At the University of Houston.
Ted Williams-esque. Get to St. Louis's 2 favorite destinations for one great price. Cardinals tickets and the Six Flags double play combo. Just $50. You get a ticket to a 2011 Cardinals game and also a one-day pass to Six Flags. The double play combo. Cardinals.com/Six Flags. Here's Johnson. 2 balls and no strikes. Going back to Wallace for a moment. When he was still with the Cardinals, I remember asking Jose Oquendo if he could be an everyday third baseman. And in his opinion, he said yes. He said it would take quite a bit of work, but the tools were there for him to play the position every day.
He had a bit of an awkward throwing motion from third base, a little bit like Alan Craig. I mean, he's a guy that's played some third base in the minor leagues as well, and they had kind of a similar, almost catapult motion that wasn't real smooth, but you know what? If Jose Oquendo says he can work with him, he can work with him.
Count is full, 3-2. Johnson, a tremendous rookie campaign, hitting 197, 1 home run, and 9 RBIs. Game looks a lot different down there, doesn't it?
It really does. Always watching.
Very quick when you're at that level. Ground ball to third. Freeze with it. Throws a strike to Pujols. And a quick inning for Kyle Loesch. John Jay, Loesch, and Punto coming up. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by McDonald's. Try a small frozen strawberry lemonade for just $1 only at McDonald's. By the Stadium Sports Bar, opening soon at Lumiere Place Casino and Hotels, the Pulse of St. Louis. And by Kia Motors. Perfect night for baseball here in Houston, Texas. Along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Pat Paris has joined us. We saw him on the pregame show. And the Cardinal leadoff man is the 8th place hitter, John Jay. He's hitting 200. 1 home run, 1 RBI. Ricky gets a tough task here tonight facing the lefty, Happ.
Yeah, it's tough when you don't get a lot of at-bats. You're just trying to get your own timing down, and then to face a pretty tough left-hander, certainly a challenge. I don't think John Jay gives away too many at-bats against lefties, though. He stands in well, starts out with the open stance, then attacks the ball.
Ground ball up the middle, base hit. There you go, John Jay with a base hit. The Cardinals have 2. Well, Pat, one of the big questions for the Cardinals tonight was just the fact that they're trying to figure out how healthy they are. And one of the guys that is really battling it from the position of being a starter, or could he contribute in some way tonight, is Ryan Theriot.
He's not. Well, Tony La Russa told me that he doesn't want to use Ryan Theriot, although he's available if he had to pinch run. Doubted that he would use him as a pinch hitter at any point because he's dealing with the soreness in the right side. And Theriot told me on the pregame show, and he reiterated that all day long today, and that was, I wouldn't even classify it as an injury. It's just a little tightness, a little sore spot, and we didn't want it to turn into an injury. And he expects to be back in the lineup as early as tomorrow.
Does he know how he did it?
He says batting practice yesterday, and that's when we noticed something was going on. And that's when they pulled him out of the lineup. Because remember, he was in the lineup yesterday all the way up until batting practice was over at 6:30, and that's when they pulled him out of the lineup.
So there's a look at Theriot, and now Kyle Loesch a chance to sacrifice here. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, there's a real giftedness that a player can have when he knows when something's not right and he takes a day off. These guys want to play every day. You know, Ryan Theriot is kind of a, I mean, he's your classic baseball guy. He wants to play every day, and for him to recognize that, a lot of guys can't do that.
And remember, he's from Baton Rouge, 400 hours away, a lot of family here. As we talked about, if it was a weekend game, you'd have 30 people here. It's a weekday game, he's probably got 10 or 15 people here, including his father, his grandfather, all great fans of his. And so he wants to be in the lineup. He wants to be in there. He'll be back in there tomorrow, just not tonight. And his grandfather, he said on the air tonight, his grandfather says, you think you called him his pap? Said, suck it up, play.
Well, Theriot is that kind of guy. If he takes himself out of the lineup, you know he's probably in a pretty good bit of pain.
Yeah, you can believe that, is not able to get the bunt down.
So Loesch strikes out, and Happ picks up his 2nd strikeout, and had a very good attempt right there with Kyle Loesch trying to get this sacrifice down, Rick.
Yeah, you look over the top of the bat, and if the ball's higher than that, you pull the bat back because it's a ball. And that's part of why you set the bat at the top of the strike zone. If it's above that, you pull the bat back, and he couldn't do it. Not a good at-bat for Kyle Loesch. He's had a good year with the bat, but not there. You
guys talked about it in the open of the show, and that's the inability last night to drive in runs in scoring position. And Tony La Russa talked about it immediately when we went in there in the postgame to get his comments. He said, we didn't execute 3 times. We didn't execute in situations just like that. Didn't get the bunt down, didn't advance the runners, and that was, well, he was very upset about that last night, the lack of moving guys over in the proper position.
Cardinals here tonight, they stranded a runner after 2 innings. They stranded 11 last night, went 4 for 17. with runners in scoring position.
And he specifically said 3 times, and I think we could probably find more than 3 times, but it was 3 times that really irritated him to the point that he actually mentioned players by names, which he generally does not. I mean, obviously he doesn't do.
One of the ones that stuck out to me, Yadier Molina, who's so good at moving runners, even had a bad bunt, and he's also a good bunter.
Right.
Leadoff double, he doesn't get the runner over, and it just ends up with a 0 on the board.
0-1 pitch. Taken for a ball low. Nick Punto lined out to left field. His first time up. This looked to be a pretty good pitch here. Let's take a look on Fox Tracks, and it says yes indeed, that's a strike. Very tight zone last night. Looks like that's carried over to game 2. The 1-1 pitch. You mentioned Terrio being out, available to run possibly tonight. He's 1 for 3 against Happ, and then you look at some of the numbers that the Cardinals have put up. They're very good. Pujols 4 for 10, Molina 3 for 7, Holiday 3 for 7, which is a bit surprising considering some of the success that Happ has had against the Cardinals last year. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
Hope everyone got the sense of humor that Ryan Terrio has too. I hope that came through on the pregame show. And
very dry.
Very dry. Little smirk as he's thinking about what he's going to say, and then the nickname. He basically brought it up himself. I asked him about the Riot and when that came about, the obvious usage of his last name, Terrio, the Riot. And he said it was the Cubs announcers came up with that. That's the first time he's really heard it, because Terrio is a very popular name in Baton Rouge in the Louisiana area, so nobody ever thought anything about it. And then he gets to the majors and they do. And I said, what nicknames would you want? And he said, well, Gator, and I said, well, what about the Tiger from LSU? And he said, yeah, only if it's the Tiger.
Bouncer to second, out there on to first, and they get the double play. Cardinals have bounced into 2 double plays tonight, midway through 3. No score. Dan McLaughlin, Rick Horton, Pat Paris in the booth here in Houston, Texas, and double plays have been a part of this game so far, Rick.
Early on, we've already had 3. Both of them ended the first inning. First, the Cardinals hit into a 5-4-3. That was Albert Pujols. Then Hunter Pence, a little 4-6-3. That ended the bottom of the first. And then the Cardinals, I don't know if you want to call it a rally, but their mini rally ends with a 4-6-3 in the top of the third.
Here's a ground ball base hit on the first pitch. J.R. Tolles. If he can find a way to hit, he'll stay in the big leagues. That has been the big knock on Tolles. Follow the Cardinals with the MLB.com @BAT 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Text @BAT to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com for details. Here's Inglet. 2 for 19. We saw him late in the ball game last night. Just the second hit for Houston against Kyle Loesch. David Freese playing in over at third. Little check swing. Only play for Freese is to go to first. And really, it's probably a good thing that Kyle Loesch did not get to that baseball.
Yeah, I think it would have been a tough play for him because he would have been spinning around on the ground, had to bounce up and make the play. Tyler Green actually heads over to third base because the runner thought about going first to third on that.
If you have a question for us, go to carsoup.com/Cardinals and send us your email the booth questions. carsoup.com/Cardinals. We saw Jaime Garcia get the start in game 1. Did not go deep again in the ball game, Pat. And that's one of the things that Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan have talked about with Garcia. They'd like to see him go a little bit deeper into games. And this is Happ who takes a ball.
I talked to him today just to see how it came through the start, and he said he was fine. He's a big running guy, so he went out and did his normal thing between starts where he goes and he runs. And I asked him anything you would have done differently, and he said, first of all, he felt great. He said, you know, obviously the home run that he gave up to Hunter Pence got the ball up. Hated that pitch, wish he could have had it back. He said the 2 times he faced Bill Hall, he was really disappointed. The first one resulted in a walk. The second one was a walk, that key one in the 6th inning, that really set things in motion. He said he didn't attack Bill Hall. He wants to attack guys, and for whatever reason, he wasn't attacking, and he thinks back on it now, and he recognizes that fact. And it's part of the learning, Rick, of how to face these teams 2 and 3 times through a lineup.
And that's exactly what Kyle Loesch has been doing all season long, is attacking hitters, and that's why he has had a 7-inning plus start in every one of his outings since the beginning of the season. He is going deeper into games, so perhaps Garcia can watch a little bit to see what Kyle Loesch is doing.
And we forget how young Jaime Garcia is, because it's the 2nd year, and yet we think of him as being a veteran and a you know, almost top of the rotation guy really now.
And part of that attacking is trusting yourself, trusting your ability, and realizing that, look, I don't have to make every pitch perfect. If I throw the ball down the middle with something on it, I'm going to get Bill Hall out. I mean, you have to think that way.
By the way, in his first at bat last night, Bill Hall against Garcia set an Astros record for strikeouts during the month of April. That was his 27th strikeout. That broke the mark set by Pete Incaviglia back in 1992. But Hall would get the last laugh with the walk-off hit, his 2nd of his career, and both have been against the Cardinals. Happ takes a walk. Well, Ricky, you talked about it. That's something that Loesch has not done a lot of. Spring training, regular season, that's walks, and he walks the pitcher there. You can join Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association in helping Japan's children in need. Text Japan to 864-233 to donate $10. Michael Bourne with runners at 1st and 2nd.
Here's the real test for Kyle Loesch. You just did something that you can't imagine that you would do, and that's walk the pitcher. Even though he's batting .570, you got to get the pitcher out. How does he handle that after that disappointment? There are times where Kyle Loesch has not handled it well, and there's times where he's handled it well.
Look at how the defense is playing here. You have a runner at 2nd. David Freese is in on the grass at 3rd, so 3rd base is wide open as he walks into the pitch, and then Green at short is trying to keep the runner close. So be interesting to see what they want to do here. Hitting lanes through the left side. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You'd almost like to see David Freese be a little bit almost side saddle as he's playing 3rd base with the infield in, making sure that Tolles isn't taken off for 3rd, trying to steal the base behind it.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Michael Bourne. Good changeup. 1-2. The pitch at 78, and he's been low to mid 90s with the fastball.
There's a changeup. Bottom drops out. Dips under the bat of Michael Bourne.
Doesn't get the call there on that tailing fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We were fairly critical last night of Michael Bourne, guys, and his inability to go from anything other than just base to base. Brad Mills kind of agreed with us.
Ground ball right side. Pujols saves a run and takes a hit away. Albert Pujols, that sore hammy, robs Bourne of an extra base hit, saves at least 1 run.
Ball hit pretty hard by Bourne. This is trouble if it gets past Albert. You know Bourne has the wheels to make that perhaps a triple if it gets down the line. But Albert reaches out, sore hammy and all, bounces up. Close play at first base. He's out, not by much.
A little nonchalant, wasn't it, there by Pujols? Should have been that close.
Well, he talked about making sure that he was under control with the hamstring as he played tonight. I guess that's
but you got to get the out too, don't you?
I agree. It seemed to be he was trying to be under control. Maybe he forgot who was running to first base.
Regardless, they get the out. Here's Angel Sanchez, who singled. Runners at 2nd and 3rd. Takes a pitch on the outside corner. This is a major league pitch right here, isn't it, Rick?
Yeah, breaking ball right on the corner. paint.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Make it 0-2.
That's another good pitch, almost the same spot.
All right, Rick, you've got him 0-2. What's the choice?
Slider down and away.
Left it up. And it's a fly ball into right. Berkman makes the catch. Loesch is out of trouble here in the third. Freeze, Pujols, Holiday coming up. You can celebrate Mother's Day at the ballpark May 8th, and the first 25,000 fans of the paid admission receive a pink mini bat courtesy of Bank of America. For tickets, visit Cardinals.com. That Sunday, it's a family Sunday, which means terrace level seating. You get a free hot dog and Coke, and kids can run the bases after the game. Again, that's Sunday, May 8th, our next homestand. Milwaukee will be in town. It's a fun weekend too, because Friday night, the Busch Bash, you have John Mabry signing autographs out in the Ford Plaza. Saturday, it's Cap Day. 12,500 men, 12,500 women receive a cap. As Freeze pops it foul, and then the mini bat day on Sunday. I'm sure we'll see some dynamic pricing with that as well. We also should mention that with the Marlins series, there are $5 seats available right now for all 4 games.
I'm still overcome thinking I can get a John Mabry autograph and a cap on the same day. I mean,
we can't.
Well,
I'm sorry. Unless you ran into John in the hall.
He would give me one.
Yes, he would.
Do you know that John Mabry, you do know this, I know you know this, hit for the natural cycle
against Colorado?
Yes, he did. And when we go with John on the Cardinal Caravans during the offseason, people love to talk about that. They remember that and how amazing that was. And he really was a great player off the Cardinal bench for a long time. Played 3 different times with the Red Wings.
Well, the only reason I say you can't get the autograph and the cap is that the autograph is on Friday.
Oh, that's why.
And the cap is on Saturday.
I'm glad you coordinated my schedule for me there. Thank
now,
you.
mini bat, that's Sunday. $5 seats, that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I got to open my schedule and get this all straight, Dan.
I know you'll be at the ballpark.
I'll be there anyway.
Some form or fashion.
You bet I will.
2-2, hit out of play. Habes is, you know, people ask us who are the good guys that we've had a chance to cover. He truly is one of the real good people that has been associated with the Cardinals not once, not twice, 3 different times for John Mabry. And that gives you a little indication of what kind of guy he is for an organization to have him back 3 different times.
Yeah, they don't bring you back if they don't like something about your personality.
Right.
I guarantee you that. And we are very fortunate to have both John Mabry and Mike Matheny helping us out with our pre and post games. They're just very intelligent about the game.
What about Cal?
Well, I'm talking about the hitters.
What about Al?
I'm thinking hitters now.
Okay.
I'm thinking having guys that understand what a hitter's approach is and to be able to break those things down, and we're lucky to have it.
I feel bad for Cal. You're really shortchanging him a little bit. Al getting shortchanged. He's on the post game as well.
Cal and Al know I love it.
There's a line out off the bat of Freeze. He's 1 for 2. Trying to go the other way. He was trying to do this 3 or 4 swings in this at bat.
Check the location. Down and away. A little more middle away. David Freeze thought when he hit that ball it might be a hit, and then the disappointment that followed. I remember I said, how many home runs to left field, Dan? You were listening to me earlier on, weren't you? How many home runs to left?
Yeah, we haven't seen any yet. There's a fly ball to right, but you did say, Rick Horton is on the record as saying as Pujols flies out, that you're expecting 4 home runs tonight to left field.
Somebody's got to get under one and hit one, but the ball is carrying very well to left field with the roof open here at Minute Maid. And here's a guy that could do it 4 times himself.
Matt Holliday walked his first time up on 4 pitches. Outfield is straight away and deep for By the way, there is an Ice Mountain autograph night if you want to get technical next week too. I just would throw that out at you. That's Wednesday night. You're shaking your head. I mean, just come on down to the ballpark. We always have things going on.
I'm shaking my head because I just can't believe how much you know.
That's about it, really. That's the extent of it. No balls and 2 strikes. One and 2. Time called by Holiday. Here's a 1-2 pitch.
You know, you're talking about, Dan, all the stuff that goes on at the ballpark every night. That is what makes it a great experience. You bring your family down, and you're going to have Fred Bird. You may have autographs of former players, and there's a lot of fun things to do at the ballpark, and that's one way this game has changed over the last 50 years.
Here's a fly ball. Left field. Lee is back. He'll look up, and it's gone. The first of what, 4? What, 4, right? 4 home runs for you?
Yep.
That's the first of 4 for Rick Horton tonight. And it's off the bat of Matt Holliday. His 3rd of the year. Muscles it out to left. A little help with the Crawford boxes. That always helps too.
And that's exactly what he did. He muscled it out. He actually gets jammed on this. And the ball carrying so well to left field, it has enough distance for his 3rd home run of the season. Look how deep that is in his kitchen. He doesn't even really hit that on the good part of the bat, and the ball just was jumping that way. And 3 more to go.
Now it's Lance Berkman. Up and into Lance. Following a home run. The first pitch up and into Berkman.
Don't think it was on purpose, but I don't think he was upset about it either.
2 balls and no strikes. Berkman popped out to short first time up. 2-1.
And honestly, even when you throw a pitch like that up and in on a guy, I mean, the real rule of thumb for a pitcher, act like you did it on purpose. Don't act like you don't know what you're doing. The Warren Spahn theory of pitching is every pitch you throw, act like you meant it to be just there, and then let the next pitch be a compliment to that last pitch you threw. Keep the hitter off balance. Keep him thinking that you know what you're doing, even if you don't.
2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes here on Berkman. Just got a piece to stay alive. Drive of the game presented by Nissan off the bat of Matt Holliday and into the Crawford boxes.
J-Happ did not expect that result. He thought he got that pitch in enough on Holliday.
The 2-2. Berkman is swing and a miss. Strikes out. 3rd strikeout for Happ, but Holliday strikes first for the Cardinals. His solo home run midway through 4, and it's 1-0. Redbirds on top. Saturday, June 25th, Busch Stadium hosts the 7th annual Pooches in the Ballpark, presented by Purina. Come downtown, enjoy a ball game with man's best friend beside you. Limited number of tickets are on sale now at cardinals.com/Pooches. Matt Holliday, solo home run, and it's 1-0 as we move to the bottom of the 4th. And it'll be Pence, Lee, and Wallace. Remember last night, Cardinals jumped out to a lead. There's a good changeup. And Garcia struggled in that following inning. Always a key. Get that lead. Try to shut the door.
Yeah, he's been that kind of pitcher. Kyle Loesch was that on his first start of the season. We mentioned the game against Pittsburgh where he had just 1 bad inning. Garcia's had some innings like that where he's pitched really well, and then 1 inning all of a sudden throws a lot of pitches and he's out after 5 1/3 and 5 2/3. That's the other way to get deeper in the game, is to try to avoid those big innings.
0-2 on Pence. Bounced into a 4-6-3 double play first time up. You get to the ballpark, and Tony La Russa will tell you as Pence broke his bat that he'll wait for many of his relievers to play catch to see how they feel, their availability for the ball game that night. I'd be curious to find out what Mitchell Boggs had to say. Now, Boggs played catch, but Tony's talked about if it is a safe situation, it's still mix and match. There is no clear-cut closer at this point. And I'm sure if he had the opportunity, he wants to throw Boggs right back out there to find out what you're made of in that role.
Yeah, I think it's his. And I don't think Tony's going to say that publicly as clearly as I'm going to say it. I don't think, but I think it's his role to lose. And you've got to have him out there and show confidence in him. If he has a bad game and you don't use him for a week in that role, I think you're saying the wrong thing to him. And I know why you don't want to crown him closer for life, and that's why Tony doesn't want to say it. But I'd say you could call him closer for now until he loses that job.
2 balls, 2 strikes here on Hunter Pence. You also want to find out how a guy responds after a blown save.
Oh, yeah.
The mental aspect of the game. That's a nasty slider that time by Kyle Loesch. And he picks up his first strikeout of the night.
It's a dominating slider here. Pence not known as a good off-speed hitter, and that swing will attest to that little scouting report. But that was a nasty slider down and away. Very sharp slider. When Loesch was not pitching well at times last year, his slider was not nearly as sharp as that pitch we just saw.
And that was a thing that he talked about for him is Carlos Lee digs in. He's lined out, but he said he just never had a feel for the baseball. Even something as simple as just feeling the stitching on the baseball and then trying to spin one off, and he said it was just very hard for him to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of importance to how the ball feels in your hand when you throw a breaking ball, because you're trying to impart spin, so you want to be able to feel the seams. You want to be able to pull down at the right time, and if any of that's kind of dull and achy or numb, and I think that was how he would describe that feeling, it was just kind of numb, and he just really couldn't feel the ball to understand how to put the right spin, so it was a bit of a guessing game for him, and that doesn't work at this level.
In the air out to center. Jay is there. Wind really holding that ball up. There's 2 outs. Well, on Friday, a tornado damaged the homes of many in the St. Louis area, and flooding now affecting many of our Cardinals fans in the viewing area. So donate to the American Red Cross. It's one of the best ways to assist during disasters. To donate to the St. Louis Bi-State chapter, here's a number to call: 314-516-2800. 314-516-2800, or head to redcrossstl.org. Our thoughts and prayers with those folks affected by the storms.
So grateful that the injuries were lower than they could have been, Dan.
It's amazing.
As powerful as those tornadoes were, and as close to so many neighborhoods and homes, and the airport as well, it's almost inconceivable that there wouldn't have been more human casualty in the midst of all that material casualty that's affecting so many people.
0-2 here on Wallace. Brad Shaw, Blues assistant coach, said he was on a plane on the tarmac in Lambert when it hit. He said, I've never experienced turbulence on the ground in a plane. He said it was unbelievable. Thank goodness Brad and all the other folks that were involved when the storms hit Lambert Field are okay. 1-2, the count on Wallace. Grounded out to second his first time up. These two will be linked, trading places. Berkman and Brett Wallace, both top picks. And for Berkman, 1997. For Brett Wallace, 2008. Green was positioned towards the middle, can't make the play. Good effort, and Wallace singles. He's 1 for 2.
Good hitters Get a lot of ground ball singles because they hit the ball hard, and that's what Wallace just did.
So if you prefer, and most do in baseball, power from your corner spots, third base or first base, and you get, let's just say, just throwing this out there for argument's sake, 15 home runs out of Brett Wallace, but he hits above 300, drives in 80. Is that somebody you say, yeah, I can live with that at first base?
I think you can live with that as long as you've got some pop in some other positions on your team. And I mean, if you're going to get some pop out of your shortstop or your third baseman, your couple of outfielders, and he's a glue player in the midst of that can contribute and be dangerous every once in a while, then I think that fits. If you're trying to carry a team and be the power guy in the middle of the lineup with 15 home runs, I don't think that works.
Here's Chris Johnson. 1 ball, 1 strike. Grounded out to third, first time up. Ricky, go back to 04 and 05 and the battles between these two teams. At the time, you really don't realize it, but now you look back on it, just how good both these teams were.
Oh, they were fun. Yeah, they were a solid club. The Killer Bees here, year after year. It was a battle between the Astros and the Cardinals for the division championship.
Shallow right, catch made by Berkman. Astros have stranded 3. It's 1-0. We turn to our trivia question tonight, presented by AT&T. Name the player that has the most home runs against the Cardinals as an Astro. I thought it was Bagwell, but it's Berkman, 39. Bagwell with 38. Biggio with 22. By the way, the numbers for Berkman as an Astro against St. Louis. 12 years, 154 games, so essentially a full season.
Right.
39 home runs, 172 hits, 37 doubles. Wow.
Well, I think you can make a case that Lance Berkman is one of the best 20 to 25 players in the game of baseball over the last 15 years. Now, I'm not going to put him top 10 probably, but top 25, I think that's reasonable. His on-base percentage is outstanding. His power numbers, batting average numbers have always been good. Slugging percentage.
Here's a 1-1 pitch.
And I don't know that you need to get those big, huge numbers this year out of him, but if he hits 25 home runs and bats .290 and drives in 90, I'd say that's a pretty good season.
Absolutely. The 2-1 pitch here to Molina. He drives it into right center field. Bourne calling for it. And near the track and on the track makes the catch. Cardinals with 3 base hits tonight. One of those a solo home run by Matt Holliday.
Michael Bourne knew right away he could catch this ball. Watch him call for it right about now. He puts his hand up, telling Pence, don't worry about it, I got it. And he shows the athleticism. That's the difference between a good outfielder and a bad outfielder. They know they're going to catch it, and he's able to communicate right away so his right fielder doesn't get in his way. And that's the way a center fielder ought to play that position. Confidently, aggressively.
From this area too. He always wanted to play for the Astros, and here he is.
I like him as a player, I really do. I'm not saying he's a perfect player, but you have the speed, the batting average.
2-time Gold Glover. That catches the outside corner. 2-1 here on Tyler Green. He popped out to short, first time up. John Jay is on deck. Right now, Happ doesn't have a real good feel for where his pitchers are going. His pitch count is at 78, and he's fallen behind a lot of hitters.
Got a few more home runs to give up to left field, too.
Just like that. Deep left. That's number 2 for Rick Gordon. Anything else you want to call?
I'm only halfway there.
The second of the night to left field. Again, if you're just joining us, Ricky said there'll be 4 that are hit tonight to left field. Well, that's 2 of the 4, Holiday and now Green.
Well, you mentioned he's struggling with his command. He's a high ball pitcher. The ball's blowing out to left. What else do you want? And Tyler Green has occasional power. We saw him hit a home run at Busch Stadium, Dan, which was as far as any home run we saw hit all last year.
Yeah. That one a line drive shot. So Rick, John Jay is up, and what happens here?
Oh, he's going to take a breaking ball in the dirt, ball 1. Oh, well, I quit.
That pitch, fastball up.
He's not with the program.
Well, that's 2, and we're about halfway through, so you've got a chance. Two balls and no strikes.
You doubting me, Dan?
Not at all.
I just heard a little doubt in your voice.
Not at all.
I'm just asking.
2-1.
And really, this is the perfect day if you get into the bullpen and you have a right-handed pitcher for Lance Berkman to go the other way.
Made a living out of just flicking the ball really to left field, let it carry to the boxes.
So I really had that thought watching Mark Hamilton take batting practice today. He got jammed about 3 times even batting, not jammed, but didn't really get good swings, just lofted the ball to left field and went into the Crawford boxes. And you could see from behind home plate on the field level how much the ball was carrying that way with the roof open. And it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. You just have to get the ball elevated in the air. High ball pitcher, logical conclusion.
Second walk issued by Happ. Cardinals, the record could be so much better. Right now it's at 12-11. Cardinals have 6 blown saves this year.
Well, this is the same way the road trip started on the West Coast. The Cardinals had disappointing losses early, not able to close out a game. They turned that road trip into a good road trip. And you'd hate to see them lose tonight and then have to break out the turtlenecks again. A little hot down here in Houston for the turtlenecks.
It's about 90 degrees today. Remember, Loesch in his first at bat could not get the bunt down. Happ has struck out 3.
And again, we talked about the proper bunting technique. You set the bat at the top of the zone, and if the ball is above the bat, let it go. If it's below, you bend your knees and go down and get it. You don't really change the bat angle at all. And when hitters get into trouble or bunters get into trouble is when you start stabbing at the ball a bit.
Were you a good bunter?
Yes. They wouldn't let me swing, so I had to be a good bunter.
There you go. Want to know the count here on Kyle Loesch?
George Kissel, a lot of hours with him.
It's a foul ball, and Loesch, he's not happy with himself. I think Kyle is considered one of the better athletes on this team, and usually a guy that can get a bunt down.
Well, you like the fact that he takes it seriously. He knows how important it is to get that runner from first to second. 2-0 is not a huge lead here. This run could make a difference in the game.
He does have 1 sacrifice this year. Here's a 1-1 pitch.
I'm not a big fan of the way a lot of Cardinals do it, and I'm sure it's taught that way, of squaring late, because I think a lot of times you square late and you don't have the bat set. Now, where he's got to here, he just barely got to, and maybe the bat angle wasn't set properly, and he stabbed at it a little bit.
1 ball and 2 strikes with 1 out and a runner at first.
That's better.
And a called third strike. Loesch again strikes out. Second time tonight. That's 4 tonight for Jay Happ. Name is spelled J period A period Happ, but he likes to go by J Happ.
Then he ought to get rid of the period in between the J and the A. I'm gonna have a little talk with him.
It doesn't bother me like it does you.
It just, I'm sorry, just grammatically, it just doesn't make sense.
Here's Nick Punto.
And sending mixed messages, and I don't like it.
Punto has bounced into a double play for 6-3, and he also lined out to left. He's in the leadoff spot tonight. 0-1 pitch. In the dirt, change up. We've been told that Happ has a decent move. Let's see if the Cardinals want to do some running. Here's a 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Now this was historically a running count in baseball. Would you think about starting the runner here?
Yeah, I would. John Jay has really average speed at best at first base. He's not a real fast runner, but the count's in his favor. Punto's a guy that can put the ball in play. I think it's a good pitch to send him.
Not going. The pitch misses inside. Happ has had 91 pitches tonight. On 3-1, Punto gets it out of play.
Sometimes you won't send a runner because you can tell he's not comfortable on the bases too. The last couple of pitches, John Jay has been moving back towards the base. He's not comfortable with the move of Jay Happ, and I think you put a little bit too much pressure on him to get a good jump when he's not comfortable. Bad thing might happen. Short lead.
Shoots one down the right field line, but foul. It's the view of the camera from our booth. What we see. I'm assuming, Mr. Horton, it's a lot easier up here than it was down there.
You better believe it.
Short lead at first. He was heading back to the bag, and that's off the glove of the second baseman, Inglet, and there's no play. Extends the inning to David Freese, and a base hit for Punto, who is 1 for 3.
Well, it's a great effort by Inglet. At least knocks it down. He doesn't compound the problem here by throwing this ball away. That's where he's smart. Sometimes an infielder will try to make up for something, and there's nothing to make up for. That was a good play by him, but you think, well, I'm going to try to do a little bit too much and throw the ball to first. You end up throwing it in the dugout, and you really got problems.
Freese has singled and lined out. Looks at a pitch upstairs with Pujols on deck.
Had a shot at being our third home run to left. I'm not 100% sure, Dan. Otherwise, I'd tell you.
1-0 pitch. Good rip. Cardinals face Nelson Figueroa tomorrow. Cal McClellan goes for St. Louis. Here's a 1-1. Happ has not had great control tonight. You have Freese here with 1 ball and 2 strikes. You'd know you don't want to face Pujols, so you don't want to go deep into a count. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, you don't play around with him. You just try to get him out now on the 1-2 pitch. Don't risk having to face Albert in this inning.
2-2.
So David Freese, what's he thinking? The exact opposite. Let's throw a good at bat. Let's foul off the tough pitches. Let's protect the plate. Make him work harder. More pitches he throws, the more he's liable to hang one.
Happ is due up third, Rick, so this very well could be his final inning of work. The 2-2.
I'm sure it will be.
All right, now it's 3-2.
Now you've got the runners going. Now a gapper scores 2.
Cardinals with a pair of home runs tonight. One by Holiday, the other by Green this inning. Big pitch in the game right here. Fouled away.
David really looks like he's trying to hit the ball into that right center field gap. He's got a pretty decent gap out there between Bourne and Pence. 100 pitches now. Only 57% strikes. That is not a good ratio.
Freeze, a swing and a miss. Off speed pitch, got him. Tyler Green with his first home run this year. Picks up his 5th RBI. And it adds to the St. Louis lead. Line shot into left, and it's 2-0. Redbirds midway through 5. Carsoup.com. Email the booth. Sam in St. Louis, what are your favorite stadiums to visit on road trips? Thanks for the email, Sam. And this is J.R. Tolles. Off the top of my head, I'd always say go to Wrigley to see Cubs Cardinals.
Right.
You haven't done that. San Francisco, great ballpark. There's a chopper hit to short. Green up with it. One away. Pittsburgh, gorgeous ballpark.
I think I'd have those same answers for different reasons. In Pittsburgh, we're about a mile high and can barely see the field from the press box there, but the field is gorgeous. The view is great. San Francisco is probably the nicest of all things, but Wrigley, atmosphere, hard to beat that.
Cubs Cardinals weekend is a lot of fun. Here's Inglet, grounded out to third.
A lot of memories too, Dan. I mean, you think about.
I bet for you.
Oh yeah, you think about different stories and days and games and experiences, you know, with teammates and fans, and I mean, just phenomenal. It's a phenomenal venue. It's an old venue. Of course, the facilities there are not the greatest clubhouse-wise and otherwise for the players, but you look past that when you go to Wrigley because of the experience.
Got a changeup by Loesch. It's really turned out to be a very effective pitch for him this year, that changeup.
Really has. A good, I guess, variety from his sinker. Looks like a sinker, then the speed gets taken off of that, and so it's a compliment to that sinker. He really just looks like he's just, I don't want to say toying with hitters, that's too strong a statement, but he really looks like he is attacking every hitter with a lot of confidence.
There's a big breaking ball and a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 2 for Kyle Loesch.
Maybe creative, Dan. A lot more creative this year because he can do all these things. He physically feels good. This time I'll end with a curveball out of the blue. Perfect location.
We'll see a pinch hitter here. Off their bench, that's Matt Downs, an infielder. So that's it for Happ, as he'll give Houston 5 innings. The Cardinals play on AstroTurf for the first time when they make their first visit to the Astrodome back in 1966. Brought to you by Schnucks.
A little before my time.
But you played in the Astrodome.
I did. Not a great feel playing in the Astrodome. I think it was novelty for about a year or 2 or 3, and then did not have the right sights and sounds of a ballpark to me, and it's just kind of an odd feel in the Astrodome.
When you were shagging flies, was it tough?
Oh yeah, hard to shag flies.
Off the bench, pop up on the infield. Pujols is there. Pujols makes that catch, leads it off when we come back. Pujols, Holiday, Berkman. Redbirds on top. What's on tap tomorrow night? Redbirds take on the Astros. It's presented by Budweiser. 6:30 with the pregame show, McClellan and Figueroa. Figueroa looking for his first win. Kyle looking to go to 4-0. He's in the top 10 in the National League in ERA. Fourth start of the season tomorrow, his 5th appearance. And his last outing, a relief appearance, if you want to call it that, on Friday.
He's been great. Kyle Loesch has been great. Garcia's been maybe great to a little bit less than that, and I think the Cardinal rotation is really rounding out. The bullpen we felt very good about going into the game yesterday. They had an off day yesterday, but signs are pointing upward.
Albert Pujols will lead it off here at Minute Maid Park, where, as you can tell, the roof is open. Breezy night here in Houston. Rick's going to tell you about this right-hander. It's our Chevy called to the pen.
Anario del Rosario is the right-hander. Throws a little bit from the side. And it looks like he's got a pretty good fastball, judging from that first pitch.
Pujols has bounced into a double play. Also flied out to right. Pujols grounded into 7 double plays in the first 10 games. And another chopper hit too short. So Happ strikes out 5 tonight. Gives up a pair of home runs. And he's on the hook right now, the starter for Houston.
Del Rosario came from Cincinnati. Appeared just a couple games with the Astros last year. He's a 25-year-old Dominican pitcher. And talk about a tough chore, middle of the Cardinals lineup, Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman.
Outside to Holiday. Matt Holiday has walked tonight, also solo home run.
I wonder if Del Rosario knows that I'm suggesting the Cardinals are going to get hit 4 home runs to left field.
There's a base hit to left.
I'm guessing news hasn't reached the Astros bullpen.
Not yet. Del Rosario is 6'2", 180 pounds, out of the Dominican. Acquired from Cincinnati in exchange for cash last September. Here's Lance Berkman, who has struck out and also popped out to short. Berkman looks at a strike. Del Rosario made big league appearances for both the Reds. 9 games in Houston last year, just 2. It was 1-1. 27-24. His minor league numbers over 6 seasons in the Reds organization.
He may have pitched for Bob Force somewhere along the line.
He is in the Cincinnati organization. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Berkman. Out in front. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One-two is ripped foul. Check swing. Did not go. Ricky, how much fun do you think this is for Berkman now that he has the first game back under his belt, and also proving to everybody and probably himself that he can still play and play at a high level?
I think he's been enjoying that really since day one, that he's proven to a lot of the baseball world, and not just Houston, that he's a valuable commodity.
Inside, 3-2.
I'm not sure if he's still having fun quite yet here in Houston. I think there's issues when you go home to play in your hometown, where it's not just the emotional things of playing against your former club, but you know, you're sleeping in your own house and you're trying to catch up with things at home, and you just don't, you feel a little bit out of sorts. And I'm sure he feels that way, and he's happy to be home, but he'll be glad to go to Atlanta.
Here's a 3-2. Runner goes. Berkman base hit into right. Holiday to second, on his way to third. Runners at the corners for Yadier Molina. So Berkman with 3 hits in this series, 2 last night and this one here.
Sidearm delivery. Ball stays on the inside half. Berkman hits the ball hard on the ground. Holiday off on the pitch. Able to go first to third.
Molina struck out swinging in the second inning with a runner at first. And also is flied out to the track and right center.
Interesting to see Berkman and Wallace having that conversation over there at first base. We talked about how they are forever linked early on. Giatti 0 for 2, a strikeout and a flyout. His average has been climbing steadily over the last couple of weeks. Did not get off to a good start average-wise. Now he's up to 282.
Certainly a double play candidate. And he hits it to short. Out at second. Out at first. Saturday, May 7th, 12,500 men and 12,500 women ages 16 and older receive a blue Cardinals hat with plaid on it as well. The plaid print, compliments of U.S. Cellular. And get your tickets at Cardinals.com. Next Monday, $5 seats against the Marlins for that 4-game series beginning Monday. Of $5 seats for each of those games. Also Monday night is college night. Bring a college ID, $10 seats. Loge level. Popped up down the left field line. Holiday giving chase. And it's out of play. And again for that Milwaukee series. Bush Bash on Friday. John Mabry signing autographs. Saturday we have the Cap Day. Sunday, Family Sunday. Free hot dog and Coke. And kids can run the bases after the game.
I like the college night idea because I think there's something about creating a new generation of fans, and not just, kids. I mean, you love to see kids at the ballpark, but when people can really embrace this as, this is something that I care about in my community as maybe a little bit bigger kid. And baseball has a way of transcending generations that I don't think other sports quite do. And think about your grandfather taking you to your first game, buying you your first ice cream. I can remember that. I can remember getting food at the ballpark as a 9-year-old and how cool that was. Going to watch baseball was great.
College night. We're at the end of the semester, so you get a chance to break away a little bit.
Yeah, they're probably not getting ice cream at college night. Is that what you're going to say to me?
No, I'm not saying that. A race to the bag, and Michael Bourne is retired. Well, Cal Loesch again effective here tonight. We've seen this before, haven't we?
Yeah, a couple of career shutouts. The first one came against the Astros, a 3-hitter. That was in 2009. And he also had one on Thursday. Defeated the Nationals. That was just a 2-hitter. Again, that changeup working to perfection, hitting corners just as he's done here tonight.
Control is so much better than a year ago. That changeup, he's mixed in the curveball every once in a while. Just like that.
And remember when he was uncomfortable, how he started changing his motion? He started going over his head, then he stopped, then he went back, then he said, I don't know. I mean, he just was toying with so many things because he didn't feel right. And it happens in this game. You get lost. And he's certainly found his way.
Repeatable delivery, repeatable mechanics if you can. We hear that term an awful lot.
Dave Duncan loves to say that term, and I think there's a lot to that. One of the things that you have been hoping for a couple of guys down in that Cardinal bullpen, Jason Mott, Mitchell Boggs, repeatable deliveries that we can see the same out of them every single night, and their consistency gets better.
Here's a grounder left side. Green. Strong throw to first.
That's a shortstop arm there, isn't it?
Yes, it is. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, it's Albert and the Cardinals head to Atlanta to take on Hayward and the Braves. Fox Saturday Baseball, special time, 11:30 in the morning, with This Week in Baseball.
I think one of the best shortstop arms I ever saw was Sean Dunston.
I was just going to say, it had to be Sean Dunston.
And when he would throw the ball across the diamond, you could hear Leon Durham screaming when the ball was about halfway there because he knew it was going to hurt his hand. It was just funny. But, I mean, it was incredible how I think he could have been a big league pitcher if he'd have wanted to be.
I was just about to ask you, and you get a look here at Hunter Pence. how tempted an organization would be, even though Sean Dunston was an outstanding player, but just in a general sense, guys with that kind of arm, if they're going to be marginal at best, maybe just seeing what they could do on the mound.
Well, that's what you've got to find out. Are they going to be marginal or not? I think that was the conclusion that the Cardinals made with Jason Mott when he was a catcher, that maybe he'll be a good player. Bob Forsch, when he was a third baseman,
right?
Yeah, they might be big leaguers, but they're not going to be, maybe not. Let's get them somewhere where they got a bigger upside. But I think if you can get an everyday player who plays consistently and contributes regularly, that's worth a lot. And I think you keep him there.
3 balls, 1 strike. Hunter Pence. Full count pitch. Pence. Couple of hops to second. The first pitch of the at-bat to Hunter Pence from Kyle Loesch as we head to break. What do you see here, Rick?
Perfect location, perfect movement. Kyle Loesch has been doing it all night, working those corners.
Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Jack in the Box, where right now you can get the new bourbon barbecue steak grilled chicken at participating restaurants. And by Steel. Are you ready for a steal? Pat Paris is with us. Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin. Some Cardinal fans as well. We're in the Lone Star State. Tyler Green is homered tonight. Cardinals with a 2-run lead. Matt Holliday is also homered. Big story starting to develop. Kyle Loesch, 85 pitches, 56 have been strikes tonight. Green 1 for 2. That home run was hit back in the 5th. Pulls it foul.
Cardinals need to add on. Even though Loesch is pitching as well as he's pitched, offensively you can't just kind of shut down and say, okay, that's enough. We've got a pitcher who's hot, game in hand. You still got those last 9 outs to get.
And a swing and a miss at a pitch that was inside by Green. There's some talent sitting together there. Berkman and Pujols and Molina.
Some all-star games there.
Dan and Lila Kurtz watching Cardinal baseball tonight. Taking in the game on the exclusive home of Redbirds baseball. Fox Sports Midwest will come your way tomorrow at 6:30. John Jay has walked and also singled. That was back in the 3rd. Very breezy night, as we mentioned, with the roof open.
Yeah, the wind's picking up even over the last inning or so, and still seems to be blowing out to left, but it's swirling a bit around the mound.
The 1-1 pitch to Jay.
And when you notice that as a defender, you have to anticipate. You have to say, okay, the ball's hit to the outfield. I'm a middle infielder. I'm going to have to help my outfielders a little more.
Line shot, left field, base hit. Off the end of the bat, and Jay reaches.
And Kyle Loesch will have his 3rd opportunity for a successful bunt. He's over 2 so far. We'll look at that hit the other way by John Jay. Good location, good movement. Not even a strike.
So 2 previous times, Loesch a chance to sacrifice and is struck out.
What the Cardinals like to do, we were talking about it earlier, they'll square, then they'll come back. Now he'll square again, but if he turns too late, he'll stab at the ball.
Got away with it there. Sacrifice is good. 2 outs. Jay is in scoring position at second. It brings in Nick Punto, who is lined out to left. Grounded into a 4-6-3 double play and single. Loesch is thinking, finally.
And just about every other starting pitcher in on that high five there because they know how important that is as a starting pitcher.
I wonder how gun shy he is. Remember, he was hit by a pitch when he was rolling along, and that's what caused some of the problems that he had in his forearm.
I hope he doesn't have that in his mind anymore, but he was certainly gun shy all of last year and just seemed like snake bit almost.
So 2 outs. Nick Punto. Punto is lined to left. That first time, that was probably the hardest hit ball that he had tonight. Up the middle, base hit. Here comes Jay. Bourne gets it. Fires to the plate. It's cut off by Wallace. A big 2-out RBI base hit. Nick Punto. John Jay safe at home. Safe and secure. New York life.
And credit Kyle Loesch for moving Jay to second base. Nick Punto, a couple of hits at the top of the Cardinal lineup and a big extra run here in the 7th inning. And talk about a pitcher being gun shy. That ball right back up the box, right at the pitcher. He just lucky to get out of the way.
So David Freese. Freese pulls it foul.
60 feet 6 inches away from home plate. You deliver a pitch at 90 miles an hour, and then you duck. You could tell that ball hit with no spin on it. Very little time for the pitcher to react. And the timing of this, probably hitting this ball 100 miles an hour right back at him. Watch out.
Oh, 0-2 the count on Freese. John and Sue McAfee from Green Ridge Manor taking in Cardinal baseball tonight. A lot of nice notes to us. We appreciate that. No balls and 2 strikes. Pujols is on deck. Outfield very deep, straight away for Freese. The 0-2. Trying to get him to chase, stayed away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Spoil the pitch again. David, it just seems like Rick has been hitting with 2 strikes both last night and tonight every time he's up.
And he's a little bit defensive too. It's almost like he's waiting so long. He's letting the ball get really deep in the zone, and all he can really do is just stab at it at the last minute. He needs to pull the trigger a bit earlier. Again, that's just a matter of timing and feel for him.
The 1-2 pulled foul. Del Rosario is at 29 pitches coming out of the bullpen for the Astros tonight. Redbirds lead it 3-0. RBIs by Punto, Holiday, and Green. Runner goes, and a throw down to second. And Punto is in there. Got a good read, or it may have been a delayed steal.
I think this is the Cardinal teaching, ball in the dirt, take off. I love the way the Cardinals are aggressive on this. Exactly what Jason Bourne. That's a movie. Michael Bourne wasn't last night. Ball's in the dirt, take off. They're not going to get you. Jason Bourne, he'd take second. Michael Bourne didn't.
He'd run somebody over, too, trying to get there.
I knew I was going to say that before the series was over.
Uh-oh. Ooh, it hit him. Just caught Freeze on a 2-2 pitch. So it extends the inning to Albert Pujols. This ball just takes off.
Like it gets his shirt.
Brad Mills out to visit. And now he makes the motion to the bullpen. Jose Valdez has been getting loose. He'll come in and face Albert Pujols with 2 runners on. Redbirds on top. It's 3-0 here in the 7th. Cardinals have out hit Houston 9-3, and they lead it by the score of 3-0. Pujols coming up with 2 runners on. Home Depot doing more on defense, and one of the key plays in this game is the stop here by Pujols. Takes the hit and possibly 2 RBIs away from Bourne. He thought he was safe.
And a very close play at first base. Bourne might have been safe, but Albert, I guess, got his foot on the bag just in time, and that's a big play. That ball goes into the corner. That's a couple of runs. It's an entirely different game for Loesch. So Albert has made his contribution today so far with his glove. And our Chevy's call to the bullpen is Jose Valdez. Valdez originally signed by the Yankees, Dan, and he actually spent 8 years in A-ball or rookie ball. Now that's a long time, and they didn't give up on him, and after a 11-year minor league career, finally get a chance to pitch at the big league level. He's still only 28, so obviously signing young.
2 outs, runners at first and second. Pujols tonight bounced into a double play, fly to right and grounded out to short. He's just about due. A pitch at 83 miles an hour.
I don't know if that was a splitter or a slider, but it had strange movement to it.
1-0 pitch to Pujols. Holiday is on deck. A 2-0 pitch.
Do I let him swing?
Well, of course.
Yes.
You could be afraid of Pujols, but then you have to deal with Matt Holliday on deck, and our director Tom Mee is thinking Albert may park one up there.
I think there's a chance on this 3-0 pitch that he will. You got to pitch to somebody.
Ground ball left side, base hit. They'll wave him in. Throw by Lee to the plate, not in time. Head first slide by Punto. Pujols picks up the RBI, his 18th.
Well, you like the contribution of Pujols, but you also like what Nick Punto does here. He gets a great read on that ground ball, great jump, good turn around third base, head first slide. That could be a big add-on here in the 7th inning. 4-0.
Talked about it last night. Carlos Lee with 4 outfield assists. A little bit misleading because teams will do what the Cardinals just did, try to take the extra base against him.
Exactly. And he almost had number 5 there. He didn't quite get a good strong throw on that. He does charge the ball well. I would say his mechanics are good in left field.
That's a base hit.
Test him again.
again. That throw is offline. And scoring easily, David Freese to make it 5-0 Cardinals. Wasting no time testing Carlos Lee.
And how about the night that Matt Holliday has had? We've talked about Kyle Loesch quite a bit in this game. Of course, Matt Holliday's home run, a big hit, but he's now 3 for 3 with a walk, leading the National League in batting over 400. Hard ground ball single. 3 runs in the 7th for the Redbirds, and not done yet.
It's 4 consecutive hits and 5 in the inning. Berkman 1 for 3 tonight.
Holliday's batting average up to .435 with his 3 for 3 night.
The 0-1. Take it inside. This has just got to eat at the fans of the Astros to see that this team is struggling. Only 9 wins this year. And one of their favorite players really ever in the history of this organization now wearing a rival uniform in St. Louis.
There may be a small piece of them that's happy for Lance Berkman. But if you're a real fan of the club, and you know, that's one of the interesting thoughts about it. It's an interesting thing into the debate of do you boo the player or not. One of the deals is, are you a fan of the team or of the player or both? And I think to some degree most fans are a little bit of both. Team comes first, but you also have affinity for certain players.
2-2. Interesting article by Richard Justice today in the local paper saying that sometimes nice guys do finish first, saying that, hey, Berkman wanted to come back here. They didn't want him, so he goes to a spot that has a chance to win. Here's a 2-2 pitch. So who did they get for Lance Berkman from the New York Yankees?
Mark Melancon, a reliever who's been an important part of their bullpen. He's actually worked quite a bit this season, 8th inning guy. And Jimmy Paredes, well, don't know much about him. He's in Corpus Christi.
3-2. Runners off with this pitch. Berkman breaks his bat, little floater to right, and that drops in for a hit. A run will score. That's Albert Pujols as the bat broke into 2 and landed into the seats about 10 rows deep. That makes it 6-0.
Fortunately, nobody hurt by this bat. This went way deep into the stands. And the Cardinals have not been very kind to Jose Valdez.
Thank goodness no one is hurt. Most fans are looking at the baseball when that bat is coming right at them. Here's Molina. Thank goodness no one is hurt. Runners at the corners, and it almost looked as if the catcher was crossed up but did not motion back to Valdez.
Well, it's a long inning for J.R. Tolles behind the plate. I wonder if sometimes the catcher forgets what number he puts down.
9th man to come to the plate in Yadier Molina. And I'm sure you played with some that did that.
It's happened before. Usually the pitcher gets blamed. Sometimes it's the catcher's fault.
1 ball, 1 strike.
But you're a team, Dan, so you go down together.
There you go. Here's a ground ball hit to short. Force play at second. The Cardinals put up 4 runs here in the 7th inning. Time to stretch. Loesch back to work with a big lead.
Outstanding night for Kyle Loesch's defense has helped him. A 4-6-3 started by Punto early on. And some more leather, this time supplied by Albert Pujols. Ground ball pitcher getting defensive help. Sometimes you do it on your own, though, Dan. You just go ahead and strike him out, let the defense rest a bit.
Pair of strikeouts tonight for Kyle Loesch. And that play by Pujols may prove to be, even though it won't show up in the box score, maybe the play of the game. Because if he doesn't make that, it's 2-0 Houston.
You know what's funny is you can talk about MVPs and batting average champions and home run champions. Everybody remembers them. But honestly, I have to sit there and think about now who won the Gold Gloves last year, position by position. Most fans don't really think about that much, don't remember it much, but that is a critical talent to have on your team when you've got somebody that can pick it, and the Cardinals have a few of them.
0-2 here on Lee. Rick, how about the mindset of a pitcher that goes back out there in the 7th, his pitch count not even at 90, and instead of dealing with a 1 or a 2-run lead, now you've got a 6-run lead. Backing up David Freese. We've seen him do that a couple of times in this series. Nice pick by Pujols.
Well, I think what the pitcher has to do, and I think you're right, David is backing up a little bit more on the ball than we've seen early on. He's almost like every hop has been the wrong hop for him. But fortunately, Albert's able to save him on that low throw in the dirt. In my mind, when you're pitching in a game like this, and the way I was taught, and think it served me well, is it's 0-0. And you'd say, okay, well, you should pitch different. You should just throw the ball down the middle and throw a strike. Well, I think when you do that, it's all of a sudden 6-3.
Right.
And you're out of your routine, and you've almost got to say to yourself, I don't care what we do offensively. Now, you know, maybe a 3-0 pitch, maybe 3-1 pitch, 2-0, you're going to be a little bit more aggressive in the strike zone. But don't change too much.
Wallace with a base hit that'll roll to the wall. And he'll stop at second base with a 1-out double. Brett Wallace has had a good series.
2 for 3 tonight. And 3 hits last night.
Next time you want to catch a Cardinals game, head to StubHub, where you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you'd like to sit. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. That's only the 4th base hit that Loesch has allowed, and it brings in Chris Johnson, who is grounded out to 3rd and also flied out to right. Cardinals about hit the Astros 12-4, lead it by 6 runs. Now, to think that the Cardinals don't miss Wainwright is crazy. I mean, they miss Adam Wainwright.
Absolutely.
But this team has responded, starting pitching-wise, about as well as you could have imagined coming out of spring training.
You miss Adam Wainwright, but you'd miss him more if Kyle Loesch and Kyle McClellan weren't doing what they're doing.
And to an extent, Pujols just let it go. To an extent, you know, Garcia as well, because you were a little concerned.
Not sure.
Yeah, coming out of spring training, plus it's his 2nd year. You're just not really sure, but you feel pretty confident now in any pitcher that you throw out there from the starting rotation that you have a chance to win.
There's 2 guys just kind of relaxing, enjoying a big league game, both sitting there at 3-0. If they're 0-3, you'd be talking more about it. We'd be talking about Adam Wainwright every night.
Yeah. The concern right now, if you're Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan, the back end of games, making sure you're able to finish those off. The 1-1 pitch. A high fly ball into right. Berkman going towards the corner. Berkman reaches up, makes the catch. Wallace back to second base, and what a play by Lance Berkman in right field.
He had to go a long way to make that play and had to be worried about the wall as well. A lot of questions. Can Lance Berkman still play the outfield? He checks out the wall. He knows this ballpark. Makes the catch right down the line. And I mean, you're running full speed right there. And you know, it looks a little easier in slow motion than it is fast motion, because he knows that wall is not going to give very much.
As crazy as it sounds, how good does that play feel for Lance Berkman, maybe even as opposed to a base hit? Because he's showing that he is in shape, he can run, and he hasn't done this, folks, since 2006. Played the outfield.
So he's saying I'm a complete player. And then he tried to show off the arm too, tried to double off Wallace.
That's pulled foul. Now the question is, why is Wallace not at second base? If that ball gets down, he can walk home.
That's a good question. Now, we're not ready to give the gold glove to Lance Berkman in right field, but what I think he's trying to prove to people, and to some degree to himself, is that he can be an everyday player and hold his own defensively. Certainly shown that offensively.
Here's the 0-2. Ground ball to short. And Green makes the play. Kyle Loesch gets through 7. Lance Berkman a fine play and right. 6-0 Cardinals. Let's take a look at our game recap here tonight, presented by Sonic. Kyle Loesch, the starter for the Redbirds, 7 innings, 4 hits. Jay Happ, 5 innings, 5 hits. And Matt Holliday, big night, 3 for 3, home run, and a pair of RBIs. Rodriguez takes over. Off to a rough start this season for the Astros, and the Cardinals with a 6-run lead.
Third reliever of the day for the Astros, and Brad Mills, boy, I'll tell you what, he's going to have a long season. These are a couple relievers in this game here that probably you'd say maybe are AAA pitchers that are getting a chance to pitch at the big league level, and they're really not proven guys yet. But you know, this Astros team is going in a different direction. They're trying to get younger. They're not going to go out and spend money on an average big league arm at this point. They're going to go with what they've got.
Flip side, the veteran Kyle Loesch outstanding here tonight. Cardinals with activity in their bullpen. Right-handers getting loose. Honori Rodriguez, 23 years of age, out of the Dominican, signed with Colorado as a 17-year-old non-drafted free agent. And he's one of 2 Rule 5 draftees picked up here by Houston. It's Ryan Franklin getting loose. The Cardinals up 6 runs. Ground ball to third. It's safe. Hustling down the line, Tyler Green.
How about that speed? There's not another Cardinal that beats this out. Average ground ball, take my time, throw it over. Oh my goodness, look how fast this guy is. And he is safe at first base. Tyler Green with his 2nd hit of the night. That's pretty impressive.
Goes along with his home run. He's played well defensively at short tonight. And here is John Jay with the runner at first and nobody out. Now, we talked about the mindset of Loesch with a 6-run lead. How about the guy warming up right now? Ryan Franklin obviously has lost the closer's duty for now, and it's a non-pressurized situation. What are you trying to accomplish outside the fact of the obvious that you're looking to have a 1-2-3 inning?
Well, to say it's a non-pressurized situation is true in one way and not true in another.
Good
because
point.
It's certainly a pressurized situation for him because he's trying to get things right, and every situation is a pressurized situation. And so, not that he's not saying I can't go out there and not give up 6 runs, but I'm trying to get right again. And so I'm sure he is feeling pressure. And you just like to see Ryan Franklin come in and get off to a good start. And I'd really like to see him find that split again, Dan. I think that's the pitch that I haven't seen quite as effective this year as I've seen it in years past. He would get a lot of strikeouts on the split, a lot of ground balls on the split, too many fastballs, belt high, and hanging sliders.
1-2 pitch to Jay. Popped foul and out of play. Jay here tonight with a base hit, couple of hits, and a walk and a run scored.
By the way, we have 2 home runs left.
You're still going for those home runs. You said, for those of you that have just joined us, that there would be 4 home runs hit by the Cardinals to left field. The wind is blowing out that way.
Halfway there.
The 1-2 pitch to John Jay. Pulled foul.
is the wind we talked about.
Shoots it foul out of play.
The stadium has grown on me over the years, Dan. I think when it first opened, I would say I mean, dislike would be a pretty good word. I mean, I didn't like the sight lines. It seemed to be just kind of tricked up in a lot of ways, and didn't like all the signage the way it was, but got a little more used to it. They do have a nice scoreboard in right field here.
We first walked in, you thought with Bagwell, he might hit 80 home runs.
Right.
I mean, we really said at the time, it was just amazing how it stuck out like a sore thumb to Crawford boxes that there's somebody that's going to wind up, hitting 60, 70 home runs. And there's Taos Hill out in center field, 436 feet away. Saw Jim Edmonds make a few of those dazzling catches out in center, running up the small portion of the hill over his shoulder.
And of course, at the time, it was Enron Field, and that didn't work out too well either.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to John Jay. One is at the foot of the umpire. Tolles couldn't find it. We flash back. How about this catch? Brad Ausmus at the plate. Edmonds dives and makes a tremendous play. Game-saving catch. 2004 NLCS, and without Jim Edmonds, the Cardinals certainly don't go to the World Series, because the game before that, extra innings, walk-off home run to send you to Game 7.
I got to say, I for one took for granted how much fun it was to watch Jim Edmonds play defense, and I missed that.
I think you're right. The 2-2 pitch. Could be a double play out at second, and out at first, another double play. What do you think about those teams back then with Mike Matheny and Yadier Molina as the Cardinals bounce into another double play? This is the fourth they've hit into tonight. But at catcher, they were solid. Third base, you had one of the best that's ever played over there in Scott Rowland.
Edgar Renteria was much better when he was younger as a shortstop. And, that great defense. You remember plays like Edmonds plays. And of course, the home runs that he took away in center field and jumping over the fence in Cincinnati and other places. To me, those are lasting memories just as much as the home runs are.
There's Mark Hamilton. Pinch hit single in Tuesday night's game.
So I wonder how many of our viewers are wondering, why is Kyle Loesch being taken out of this game? I don't think it's so much about pitch count. He has been outstanding. Yes, there's a lead. I think Tony La Russa, Dan, is looking for an opportunity to not have Loesch throw too many pitches, so that next time out he can be more rested. He does that every once in a while with Carpenter and Wainwright. And a 6-0 lead is the perfect time to do it.
You think it might be twofold as well, that this is, coming off the complete game, as you mentioned, you get a little rest, but also up by 6 runs, you're trying to get Ryan Franklin right too.
Yeah, I would say yes, but I think your first priority has to be get your starting pitcher straight first. I mean, you got to decide whether or not you want him in first. I wouldn't take Kyle Loesch in just to get work for Ryan Franklin. I would do it for him as well. Well-deserved pat on the back for Kyle Loesch. Outstanding night for him.
Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Bank of America, ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip, no envelope with Bank of America. Member FDIC. And by AT&T. Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin, Pat Paris with you. Tom Mee, our director. Mike Helling, our producer. Brian McCann. Keith Oberman as well. And Ryan Franklin takes over for the Redbirds.
Well chronicled the difficulties of Ryan Franklin early on in the season, a veteran in that Cardinal bullpen, and certainly a guy that the Cardinals have relied on a lot in that closer role over the past few years. One of the highest percentages in terms of saves per attempts over the last few years, but this season's been a nightmare so far for him. ERA is high and the blown saves are high, but Ryan Franklin with an opportunity here tonight in Houston to maybe right the ship a bit.
Do you notice him anymore? Gone is the facial hair.
He said the mojo is no longer there. Players are always looking for mojo, Dan.
Right now he is 5th all-time in the Cardinals saves list. Fly ball left center. And Holiday can't come up with it. Inglet lines up at second base. Right now, Ryan Franklin has 0 luck.
Well, Matt Holliday knows he should have caught that ball, and you wonder whether he was hearing or seeing the footsteps of John Jay. Kind of shies away at the last minute and just doesn't catch the ball. As simple as that. And you're right about Ryan Franklin. Just nothing working well for him. And we'll see if he can pitch out of that. That ball wasn't hit very hard. It was well placed in the gap between left field and center field, but should be caught.
Franklin right now 16 saves away. He would only be the 9th player in the history of Major League Baseball to have 100 games started and 100 saves. 27 of 29 a year ago and 14 for 14 at home.
How soon we forget.
1 ball, 1 strike. Jason Bourgeois is the hitter. Time called by Molina. Off-speed pitch, base hit into center. They'll hold up the runner. Jay misses the cut, and runners at second and third.
And he's getting a stare down from Albert too. He knows he's made a mistake as he misses the cutoff man. You cannot allow an extra run to get into scoring position, and smart base running and not a smart play by John Jay. Again, another bad break for Ryan Franklin. Yes, he gives up the hit, but this is airmailed way over the head of Albert. Frustrating.
Tony La Russa made the signal, and that'll be it for Ryan Franklin. This Caprati telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Franklin sees 2 hitters, gives up a pair of base hits, and Trevor Miller is into the ballgame.
Trevor Miller gave up a base hit to his only batter in game 1 of this series, and he's given up a couple of hits to left-handers of late. He's normally pretty much lights out against left-handers, and he's going to face one here, Michael Bourne. Again, the Cardinals taking the bunt away, and really at this point, Dan, you just got to get an out. Forget about saving the runs, just get an out.
Michael Bourne takes a strike. I'm sure a lot of fans are asking this question. Are you surprised to see just Franklin facing 2 hitters?
No, I think you can't let it get worse. Not with that second batter and the ball hit as hard as it was. And clearly he didn't get a break. Matt Holliday maybe lost the ball in the lights. Who knows? Just misplayed it, whatever you want to say it. He didn't catch it. Should have caught it. And that made it a rough start for Ryan Franklin. But then when the second guy hits the ball as hard as he does up the middle, pinch hitter off the bench, I think you've got to go get it.
Strike 2 on Bourne.
I still think Ryan Franklin has plenty of opportunity to regroup and make a contribution down the road. I'm not talking about this week, next week, or the week after that, but you may need him in June and July, and you will need him in June and July. Maybe not as your closer again. But he provides some experience, some leadership in the bullpen.
Trying to get him to chase. He stays away from the slider. Count is full.
And Trevor Miller needs another left-hander in that bullpen to complement him.
And a walk by Miller, bases loaded. Salas getting loose. And that'll be it for Miller. And Miller's struggling a bit right now. Bases loaded and nobody out. Salas coming in when we come back. 6-zip St. Louis. Bases loaded. Bottom of the 8th. And nobody out. Fernando Salas comes in. And Salas so far very effective for the Cardinals.
Yeah, he has holds in his last 3 games coming out of the Cardinal bullpen. Actually, the last 2 games, they were both against Cincinnati. He pitched very well against the Washington Nationals as well. And he hasn't walked a lot of guys and throwing strikes. Tough situation here. Bases loaded. Really needs to get a ground ball as soon as possible. Get a couple outs. Change the feel of this entire inning. You don't have to get it all done with one pitch. Just get somebody out. Run scores, that's fine.
And that's a strike on the outside corner.
We've chronicled the struggles of Ryan Franklin, but looking closer at Trevor Miller, he's only retired the first batter he's faced 5 out of 11 times coming out of the Cardinal bullpen. That's not a good number for him.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. You can see Salas with his index finger will raise it up on the seam of the baseball as he grips the baseball and then takes it into his glove. Oh, 2 pitch. Remember, Jason Isringhausen threw a nasty knuckle curve. And Salas a little bit of a variation of that, just trying to get a better grip of the baseball.
Almost become a habit for him. Probably that's how he starts with the ball in his hand. He's going to make an adjustment once he gets the ball inside his glove. If he's going to throw a changeup or a fastball, he's going to change that grip, but he starts with that finger that way. And who knows what he's doing right now.
1-2 pitch. Night game tomorrow will come your way at 6:30 with the pregame show.
How about that 1-2-3 double play? Very possible with the way he pitches. Down in the zone.
There's the ground ball. And they'll go to second. Out there. And Green somehow, I guess, stayed on the bag for the out. Punto took a chance.
He absolutely does, because he's going to his left. And a speedy runner, Michael Bourne, and very close whether or not Tyler Green stayed on that base. That's an RBI ground out, but that's exactly what Mr. Salas needed to do. Just get an out somewhere.
That could be big, because now you get the potential of a double play off the bat of Pence. So Punto with a heads-up play. He's had a nice game. First pitch to Hunter Pence, taken for a ball outside. Good pitch.
He's sneaky fast too. That pitch 92 miles an hour, but you know, as we watch him from our vantage point here, Dan, that just seemed like it was a lot quicker than that. It just has a lot of life to it. Nice smooth delivery for Salas. A lot of quality pitches so far.
The 1-1 pitch. You're Dave Duncan, you're Tony La Russa. Obviously, you're worried about the game. It's 6-1, 2 runners on, but in the back of your mind, one of the things I'm sure they'll be thinking about is Ryan Franklin. You do not want him to get completely buried, and he's come into this ball game and allowed a pair of base hits.
And maybe a couple of runs is responsible for the runner at third base.
2-2.
Well, I think you'd be a little bit more worried about it if Ryan Franklin were 26. And the fact that he's a few years older than that, you know, he has no delusions about where he's going to be 10 years from now. He's just trying to make a contribution here. And yeah, he wants to do that. And he's not having any fun.
2-2 up the middle for a base hit. Cuts the lead to 6-2.
And that's the first bad pitch of the night for Fernando Salas. This ball just hangs right in the middle of the plate. And Hunter Pence hits that ball hard right back up the box. This game has gotten interesting. Trying to get this ball down and away, and it just sits right in the middle of the plate. I mean, right in the middle of the plate without a sharp break to it. And Hunter Pence may not be a good breaking ball hitter, but he can hit that pitch.
Now Lee, he can make this very interesting. Foul back. Lee with 2 home runs this year.
I would submit that it's interesting already.
One swing of the bat, and you could have a 6-5 ball game. Oh, 2.
So you've got pitchers making mistakes this inning. You also have fielders making mistakes. John Jay has missed a cutoff man. Matt Holliday has dropped the ball. Nick Punto's made a throw that almost took Tyler Green off the bag. So even defensively, the Cardinals reeling a bit in this inning.
0-2. Trying to get that ground ball on the outside pitch. Spoiled by Lee. Last year, Rick, was the first time that Lee did not drive in 100 runs since 2002. But it wasn't shabby. 24 home runs, and he drove in 89.
Always been a big RBI man.
Oh, 2 pitch.
Almost said don't hit him before he released that pitch. I saw Yachty setting up inside. When you have a power hitter and you've got that 0-2 pitch in, there's something in your head that says make sure you really get it in. And sometimes you hit him when you do that.
Right now, no activity in the Cardinals bullpen. Goodness. Absolute rocket off the bat of Carlos Lee. Two runners on. A ball and 2 strikes on Lee. Outfield is deep and straight away. Got him. Big strikeout, Fernando Salas. Molina asked for it up. He got it there, and Lee chased.
They tried a couple of different locations with him, and finally Yadi wants it high and away, thinks he can get him to chase, and that's exactly what happens. That's following your catcher there, and Salas carried out the plan that Yadi gave him.
Red Wallace, 5 hits in this series. And in this spot, he is 0 for 6.
Cardinals were sitting there, Dan, with a comfortable 2-0 lead going into the top of the 7th inning, and they erupted for 4 runs against the Astros bullpen, and every one of those runs is huge right now.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Wallace. Off the glove of Green into left, and a run will score. Cuts a lead to 6-3. The tying run comes to the plate. And Green was playing towards the bag, and Wallace hard hit again.
Almost playing right up the middle, and Wallace hits this ball the other way. Ball was hit. I mean, that was a bullet. Ground ball. Tyler Green thought he might be able to knock that ball down and keep it in the infield, but things just are not going the Cardinals' way here in the 8th inning.
I was a little bit surprised that the Cardinals did not have anybody getting loose until right now, and I believe it is Sanchez that's starting to throw.
You generally don't think you're going to have to get 4 relievers into a game to get through 1 inning.
Exactly. So it is Eduardo Sanchez getting loose, warming up in the bullpen. If there's a right-hander that's had success getting lefties out, Salas has shown the ability to do that. So you see Sanchez throwing. Now the question becomes, too, if you're Tony La Russa, you get out of this inning, who starts the 9th? They see Sanchez get a shot.
All of a sudden a more interesting question. You go back out with Boggs again. I'd like to see him throw Boggs out there again. Let Sanchez back him up. For now. Sanchez is still a pup. He's a hard throwing pup, though.
He can bring it.
Yes, he can. But so can Boggs.
Bogusevic is the hitter. The 2-0 pitch. Popped up. Punto, the second baseman, makes the catch. Tying run at the plate. Houston strands 2. 9th inning is upon us when we come back.
Back in Houston, going to the 9th inning. Cardinals have that 3-run lead. Immediately afterwards, it's Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. It's Jim Hayes and Al Raboski in studio in St. Louis. They'll talk about Kyle Loesch having his best streak ever as a major leaguer. Al's going to describe what it's like to bounce back and the keys to coming back from a blown save. And, of course, Tony TV, all coming up on the post-game edition of Cardinals Live. Cardinal Nation out in full force here in Houston, gentlemen.
All right, thank you. 6-3. Good job, Pat. Cardinals trying to hold on, and here's one of those players we talked about involved in a trade a year ago.
Yeah, they got him in the trade. Mark Melancon has been their 8th inning guy, and we've not seen him yet in this series. But he's really been worked hard. 13 appearances, leads the National League in that. And now all of a sudden we've got a much closer game, and prospects of the Cardinals scoring some more runs here in the 9th inning becomes more important. Top of the order for them in Punto, Freese, and Pujols. And we've got 2 more home runs to go into the left field bleachers.
Nobody throwing right now in the Cardinal bullpen.
There's some stirring, but nobody's throwing.
So Punto will be the hitter. 2 for 4, pair of singles, RBI, and a run scored.
Cardinals score some runs here, Dan. You throw Salas back out there for the 9th inning. That'd be my suggestion.
He may just start anyway. We will see. Up the middle, slowly hit. Sanchez to his left. Gets Punto. Here's David Freese. Base hit to right.
Melanson was a starter in the minor leagues for the Yankees, and we mentioned he came over in the Berkman trade, but he's seemed to have found his way in the bullpen. He's one of those Tommy John surgery recovery guys. David Freese hasn't looked terribly comfortable at the plate today, but he's been on base 3 times with a couple of hits. As Tony says, you either do or you don't.
So here is Pujols. Well, if you're saying that, then you're saying that about Ryan Franklin too. You're saying that about Trevor Miller.
Yeah, I mean, well, and in both of their cases, you can say, well, I didn't feel good, didn't like that, maybe this happened, but again, the results are what matters, and they know that. They're veteran guys. Those are the 2 veterans out in that bullpen. They know it better than anybody else. And they're not happy about what they did tonight, and I'm sure Matt Holliday's not happy about dropping the ball in left field. And again, you either do or you don't. And if you don't, you try to find out the reasons why you didn't.
Pujols fouls it back.
Pretty good fastball in to Albert. Some teams have really started pounding Albert in. You better be careful with that, because he has the ability of opening up his hip and turning on the ball. Perfect ballpark to be able to do that in. We're going in again.
The 2-2. On 3-2, what will Albert Pujols get here? Runner at first, 6-3 St. Louis.
I don't expect they'll come in again. I think you have to go away. Probably something off speed. He shook off the off-speed pitch away, shook off the fastball away, shook off the changeup. I think he wants to throw that fastball inside again. Now it's a breaking ball.
The 3-2, runner goes. Bounced in the dirt. So walk to Pujols. And here comes Holliday.
Doesn't always happen, Dan, but when a pitcher has to shake 4 times to the pitch he wants with a 3-2 count, the next pitch normally is not a good one. You're not really sure the catcher agrees that you're making a good choice. It's his fourth choice and your first. You're just not sure you're in sync.
63rd at bat of the year for Matt Holliday, who's hitting now .435. Holliday with 3 hits, including a home run tonight, and he walked in the 2nd inning. I felt at the beginning of the year he was going to have an absolutely monster season. The reason I say that is he's in great shape, number 1, always is, but 2, when you talk about, you always talk about being relaxed, and the contract now is something he's dealt with. It's behind him to an extent, Now he just relaxes and plays baseball.
He's dealt with some of the negative aspects of signing a big contract.
0-1 pitch. Curveball, tap foul.
And you even use those 3 letters to describe the season that he may have this season. MVP.
Yep. Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Well, if he does get that award, I hope he remembers to mention you in his acceptance
Thank you.
speech.
Yeah. Sure that'll be first on his list. Here's the 0-2. It's sharply to second. Look what I found. That's now 5 double plays the Cardinals have hit into this evening. Budweiser player of the game is Kyle Loesch. 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, and he struck out 2. It's our Budweiser player of the game as he threw 97 pitches. Eduardo Sanchez into the ball game. 9th inning, 3-run lead for the Cardinals. 7 innings, he's allowed 2 hits. He has struck out 12. But a real key for this young right-hander is the fact that he throws strikes, and he can throw strikes with a very nasty slider.
And this could mean that Mitchell Boggs may be a little tender today. That's a possibility, but I am very surprised that Sanchez is in this game, but I can't say I'm unhappy about it either. He's been outstanding. This is a guy that's been a Cardinal for such a short time. I'm not even sure he knows everybody's name yet. I'm sure he doesn't know Highway 40 from Highway 70 in St. Louis, and now he's pitching in the 9th inning, closing a game, potentially, for the Redbirds.
What a difference a road trip makes. If Augenstein and Talent don't get hurt, Eduardo Sanchez isn't called up in Arizona. But he might still be in the minor leagues. But now, with what he's done and impressed everybody, you've got Sanchez ready to roll, and there's a look at Boggs. The setup man is kind of like the backup quarterback in football. He's the most popular man
until you get that job.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
you're exactly right. Hey, we love him. Give him a chance. Well, let's see. Here's his chance.
J.R. Tolles, first pitch, taken for a strike. There's no doubt. I think we've seen enough. This guy's got pretty nasty stuff.
No, there's no question about that. It's just a matter of experience.
Owen pitch to Tolles. Look at that slider. Got a little flair too, doesn't he?
He has a little flair, but not too much, in my opinion.
The 0-2 pitch. Look at that slider. See you later. Nasty pitch. I mean, that is sharp.
Yeah, this is really nasty. It hits the spot. It's sharp, and it's located well. Tolles knows he can't hit it. Might as well take it. Tolles is thinking, hey, that day I had 8 RBIs against the Cardinals, nobody threw me a pitch like that.
No. That was nasty. England is 1 for 3. 1 out and nobody on. First pitch taken a little high. Cardinals about hit the Astros 14-8. They led 6-0, and now the game is 6-3 here in the ninth.
Certainly opens the door if he's able to get through this to say we've got a closer by committee go.
I don't think a lot of people would mind that. If one guy is off one night, go back to the other, or look at matchups.
And who's rested?
Here's a fly ball. Holiday giving chase. And a strike, 1-2.
Well, we keep saying that Eduardo Sanchez does not have a lot of experience, but he's getting a fair amount in a short period of time.
And we've seen the importance of his appearances increase. Sunday night, the Cardinals with a 3-run lead against Cincinnati, and he comes into that ball game late. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Base hit into right. It's another slider. Left that one up, didn't he?
Didn't quite have the bite his first breaking ball had. It struck out Tolles. Last couple of outs, very difficult to get. There's the tight spin on that breaking ball, but he doesn't quite pull it down enough. Location's not bad, but the pitch was not as sharp as the first one. And of course, he's throwing it to a left-hander, which makes a difference.
Cardinals have hit into what, 5 double plays here tonight. Double play could end it here. Jason Bourgeois batting .280. Had a single off of Franklin last inning. One ball, one strike.
Fastball up, had a little hop to it.
The 1-1 pitch.
You look at the minor league career of Sanchez and you try to find any negatives, and there really aren't very many. Very good minor league numbers that occasionally control an issue.
The 2-1 pitch. On deck, Michael Bourne. Two-two. Line to the left center. Extra bases for Bourgeois. And he can really run. He'll wind up with a triple. Standing up, no. Slide into the third. First run allowed by Sanchez. Tying run comes to the plate.
And there's a case of Sanchez not being able to put away a hitter that he had on the ropes. Bad location on that fastball. He wanted it away. Instead of coming back with that curveball where he had the first strikeout on Tolles, he decided to go with the fastball again. And now we'll learn a little bit more about Eduardo Sanchez.
And with Bourne up, Freeze is in on the grass. Outfield is shallow.
Pretty good pitch there. Looked like it was a strike at the knees.
One-0 pitch to Bourne. 2 balls and no strikes. Ninth inning has turned into an adventure this season for the Redbirds. Mott getting loose.
Another indication that perhaps Boggs not available.
The 2-0 pitch at the knees for a strike. 2-1 pitch. Fly ball right field. Berkman makes the catch. Runner tags up Bourgeois from third. It's now 6-5. Tying run at the plate. This will be Sanchez. He has 1 home run this year.
Sometimes it feels like a rally killer when you're able to empty the bases. And we'll see if Sanchez feels that same thing, just 1 out away from his first major league save. And who knows, maybe the first of many.
Angel Sanchez singled the first, flied out to center, grounded out to short, reached on a fielder's choice and scored last inning.
Just as soon not see Hunter Pence hit one more time.
He's on deck. 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-2 pitch. The 2-2. Cardinals trying to hold on. A 3-2 pitch upcoming. We'll do it again.
Might have been ball 4. Too close to take, though. Cardinals trying to move the outfielders. Yachty wants Sanchez to step off, regroup, throw a good 3-2 pitch, maybe get save number 1 in his career.
3-2 pitch again. We'll do it at least one more time. Three-two again. In the air, right field. Berkman backing up, backing up. Can't make the play. Goodness.
This should be an out. Fly ball to right field. It takes off on Berkman. Doesn't get a good jump on it. Doesn't come up with the play. And now you've got to deal with Hunter Pence and the tying run at second base and the winning run at the plate.
Is this really going on? Hunter Pence.
I'm here. I'm seeing it.
Yesterday, 4th home run of the year off of Jaime Garcia. The Cardinals had a lead of 6 runs here tonight. 6.
3 runs in the 8th. They've already scored 2 runs in the 9th. The Astros. There is the tying run. Potentially an Angel Sanchez with 2 outs in the 9th inning. 11 hits now for the Astros all of a sudden.
First pitch to Hunter Pence. A 6-run lead with 6 outs to get.
Kyle Loesch hoping to go 4-1. And I'm sure more than a few Cardinal fans wishing he'd have pitched the last couple of innings.
0-1 pitch to Hunter Pence. Base hit tonight for Pence. That was in the 8th. Also was struck out here tonight. That's the tying run. Winning run is at the plate. The 1-1. And again, the Astros down to their final strike.
One thing to pitch when you're feeling it and everything's working, but when you have a little adversity, do you know how to pull it out and come up with the pitch when you need it?
You go with the slider here on 1 and 2?
I do.
We shall see. Fastball wasted outside, doesn't chase.
Well, the problem in throwing a breaking ball to Pence is he doesn't hit the good breaking ball, but he really hits the bad one. Throw it. Don't hang it.
Two-two pitch. Mislocation, but got away with it.
He knows it.
Most of this crowd, if not all of them, on their feet. Two.
Another hanger. Tony La Russa said before the game that you often pay too much attention to what goes on in your bullpen in the last few innings. If this does not work out well, I don't know how you get away from that topic.
This will be pitch number 31 of the inning for Sanchez. The inning began with a strikeout. Now time is called.
Yadier Molina very aware that Sanchez has just missed location badly on those last 2 pitches, Dan. Trying to change the momentum here. That's what that conversation is all about.
It was a walk-off win last night. Houston and Pence down to their final strike. Two and two the count. Got him! Took some off it, and it's a strikeout for Sanchez to end the game, and the Cardinals hold on 6-5.
Roller coaster season so far for the Cardinal bullpen. Roller coaster ride for Cardinal fans. Sanchez finally comes up with a pitch to end this one.
Took some off it, didn't he?
Off-speed pitch away from Hunter Pence. He'd hung a few. This one gets the job done.
Cardinals hold on, barely. 6-5. Post-game show coming up next.
The Cardinals hold on 6-5 in Houston. Al Roboski, Jim Hayes here. We're to break this one down. And Al, a lot of drama at the tail end of this one. We'll talk about that in a bit. But the big story tonight, Kyle Loesch, 7 scoreless.
Well, Kyle Loesch was outstanding as he went out there, extended his shutout streak to 19 2/3. That's the longest in his career. He was outstanding. He gave a tremendous effort. And that's what you need from your starting rotation. We had plenty of offense, and we needed every bit of it.
More from Al coming up. Plus this, the Redbirds looking for a bounce-back game after a disappointing loss the night before. Plus, how does a closer bounce back from a blown save? The Mad Hungarian will tell you how. And what's up with Kyle Loesch? Why has the Cardinals' $40 million man been so good? And we'll take you back to H-Down for player reaction and Tony La Russa's post-game thoughts. Happy birthday to you, Samuel Morse, the inventor of Morse code.